Nyla Thompson was not born into wealth. Far from it, she grew up in a small town where everyone knew each other, and dreams were limited to what one could see. Her mother worked long hours at a local grocery store, and her father left them when she was barely old enough to remember him. Life was hard, and every day felt like a repetition of the last. Growing up, Nyla had always been drawn to the lives of the rich and famous. She would spend hours in her small room, scrolling through social media, following influencers who traveled the world, wore designer clothes, and attended glamorous parties. She would dream of escaping her dull life, promising herself that one day she would be one of them. But deep down, she knew that girls like her weren't meant for lives like that. One day, while sitting in the town library and browsing social media, Nyla stumbled upon the page of a luxury influencer. The woman was perched on the hood of a sparkling sports car, wearing a designer dress and dripping in diamonds. In that moment, Nyla made a decision. She would not let her small-town origins define her. She would rewrite her story. Nyla began her journey with small, seemingly harmless lies. She created a new social media profile, carefully curating every post to reflect a glamorous, fictitious life. She borrowed clothes from her wealthier college friends, standing in front of mansions she had no business being near, tagging locations from high-end spots she'd only read about online. She told her classmates that she was from a wealthy family but had chosen to live humbly for college. It was a story that raised eyebrows but added a layer of mystery. Some people believed her, others didn't. But Nyla didn't care. The online world was all that mattered to her. It was a place where she could be whoever she wanted, where she could escape her reality and step into the world she craved. One weekend, Nyla rented a high-end handbag from an online service, a brand she'd never be able to afford otherwise. She took pictures at luxury spots in town, posing as though she owned them. Her followers began to grow, fascinated by this girl who seemed to live such a glamorous life. People started to comment on her posts, asking about her outfits, her travels, her rich girl secrets. Nyla loved the attention. It was addictive. As Nyla's online presence grew, so did her ambition. She began receiving invites to exclusive parties in the city, events she would have never dreamed of attending. One night, she attended a lavish event hosted by a popular fashion brand. To look the part, she rented a dress worth thousands of dollars, spent hours perfecting her makeup, and arrived in an Uber, pretending it was her personal driver. At the party, she met Lily Moore, the daughter of a tech billionaire. Lily was fascinated by Nyla's mysterious background and introduced her to her circle of friends. Nyla knew that she had to tread carefully. She created stories about her family's wealth, painting herself as the daughter of a reclusive businessman. She invented tales of summers spent in Europe, boarding school in Switzerland, and shopping trips in Paris. Lily and her friends were captivated by Nyla's stories, hanging on her every word. For the first time in her life, Nyla felt like she belonged in this world. She was no longer the small-town girl with big dreams. She was Nyla Thompson, the enigmatic heiress. But maintaining this facade wasn't easy. Every lie required another, and soon Nyla found herself caught in an intricate web. She started to lose track of her stories, afraid that one slip could unravel everything she'd worked for. But she kept pushing forward, determined to make this life her reality. As Nyla's popularity grew, so did her opportunities. Brands began to approach her for partnerships, offering her free products in exchange for posts. She would receive clothes, makeup, even vacations, all comped by brands who believed in the glamorous life she'd crafted online. She even started getting paid for her posts, allowing her to live more comfortably, though she was always on edge, fearing exposure. One of her biggest breaks came when she was invited to a charity gala filled with celebrities, influencers, and business moguls. There, she caught the eye of Max Claire, the CEO of a high-end fashion label. Max was intrigued by her story and invited her to dinner. Nyla knew she couldn't miss this opportunity. At dinner, she spun more lies, painting a picture of a privileged upbringing, telling tales of her family estate and their old money wealth. She pretended to be coy about her background, dropping hints that kept Max intrigued. He invited her to more events, introducing her to his network, and soon, Nyla was rubbing shoulders with people she had only ever dreamed of meeting. But the higher she climbed, the more paranoid she became. She constantly worried about people from her past showing up, friends from college recognizing her, or someone uncovering her lies. She began cutting ties with anyone who knew the truth. Even her family, every Dav, she lived in fear of being exposed, yet she couldn't stop. The thrill of the life she'd built was too intoxicating. Months went by, and Nyla's online presence continued to soar, but the lies were taking their toll. The constant pressure of maintaining her facade left her exhausted. She became irritable, snapping at anyone who questioned her stories. Her behavior started to attract suspicion. Even Max noticed her strange actions and began to distance himself, sensing that something was off. One night, at an exclusive party, Nyla ran into an old classmate, Sarah, who had come to the city for work. Sarah recognized her immediately and tried to catch up, but Nyla brushed her off, pretending not to know her. Sarah was hurt, but she shrugged it off, assuming Nyla had changed with fame. But Nyla's dismissive attitude didn't sit right with Sarah. She started to ask around, digging into Nyla's background, wondering if her former friend had truly come from the wealth she claimed. Sarah's suspicions grew, and she began piecing together Nyla's lies. She found old photos of Nyla's modest home, school records that didn't match her stories, and friends who remembered her as an ordinary girl. Sarah decided to confront Nyla, sending her a message exposing what she'd uncovered. Panicked, Nyla blocked her and ignored the messages. But Sarah wasn't done. She began posting hints on social media, cryptic messages that hinted at Nyla's true background. The rumors began to spread, and people started questioning Nyla's story. As rumors of Nyla's lies grew, Max hired a private investigator to look into her past. He didn't want to believe the whispers but felt compelled to protect his reputation. The investigator quickly uncovered the truth. Nyla was not from a wealthy family, and everything she'd portrayed was fabricated. When Max confronted her, Nyla tried to deny it, spinning more lies to cover her tracks. But Max had the evidence, and there was no way out. Heartbroken and furious, he exposed her deception to the entire social circle, severing all ties and making sure everyone knew the truth. Nyla's world came crashing down. Her followers turned against her, her brand deals were revoked, and she became a laughingstock on social media. Every post she'd ever made was scrutinized, every lie she'd told exposed. She tried to salvage her reputation, posting a tearful apology, but it was too late. The life she'd built on lies was over. Alone and disgraced, Nyla returned to her small town, moving back in with her mother. She avoided social media, unable to face the ridicule and hate. She got a job at a local store, trying to piece together the fragments of her life. The dreams she once had were gone, replaced by a harsh reality. In the quiet of her small town life, Nyla finally understood the emptiness of the life she had once chased. The fame, the wealth, the admiration, none of it had brought her happiness. Her life of lies had cost her everything, and now all she had left was the truth. As years passed, Nyla rebuilt her life, learning to value authenticity and integrity. She never returned to the glamorous world she'd once desired. Instead, she found contentment in the simple life she had once despised.
Please do well to subscribe for more